Oh, sweet bitches. Shane Smith's in the house.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Train by day, Joe Rogan podcast by night, all day.
Just doesn't feel like an official show unless you hear that stupid song. Oh, you're getting crafty with that. You went left, right ear. I like how you did that.
You like that?
You're crazy, bro. Shane Smith's in the house, ladies and gentlemen. This guy, this one guy in front of us right now, I have probably enjoyed your online videos more than anything I have ever watched online, and that is the God's honest truth.
Amen.
I've been turning people onto you for a long time, man, and I don't remember which was the first one that I saw. Somebody sent a link to it on the message board. I don't remember which one it was.
The Vice Guide to Travel.
Might have been Thailand.
Mine was.
It was you chilling in a bathtub with some lady boys. Yes. And I was like, this dude's a bad motherfucker. He's got a big smile on his face, and he's chilling in a bathtub with these lady boys.
Yeah.
And then, of course, I saw the Liberia one, and then I'm like, who the fuck are these guys? And then I started going, these guys are fucking nuts, man. They're just going to the weirdest situations, and they're giving you, like, a real take on it. It seems like people you know went to Liberia and saw the situation and broke it down intelligently, but it seems like people you know, whereas, like, if I watch a 60 Minutes piece on Liberia and they send a correspondent, I don't know that dude.
Right.
I don't know that dude, you know? The difference with what you guys are doing is whether it's Hamilton Morris doing drugs or whether it's, you know, you going somewhere or your boy you just went to the Congo, I feel like those are regular people. They're not bullshit artists.
Right.
I'm not getting that. And that's a rare thing, man.
Well, that's the I don't know how to close.
That's good right there. That's right.
That's we call it immersionism, where we don't really have a story before we go. Like, for example, Liberia started as an article in the mag, which was General Butt Naked in the Two-Pack Army, because they had stolen a container, like a ship with a container, and the container that had Tupac Shakur T-shirts, right? And so it became the uniform of the army. So exactly. So that's right up Vice's alley. We're like, wow, that's freaky and
right.
cultural and weird. So we didn't really have a story, but when we went there, we just started hanging out with all these warlords, and each one would tell you a story that was worse than the next. And everyone, they're like, oh yeah, we all ate flesh in Liberia. How many people have eaten, you know, human flesh in Liberia? Oh, 70%, you know, 85% of the women have been raped. Like, it's like such a shocking thing, and you're just talking about cannibalism all the time. It's just a given. Oh yeah, no problem. They used to eat people in the presidential palace.
Fuck.
And you're sitting there going,
and not just people, babies, children. They would steal people's babies.
Yeah. So Butt Naked, the guy that we spent a lot of time with, they believe that if they split the back of a living innocent child open and take out the still beating heart and eat it, that they couldn't be hurt in battle.
Oh my God.
So they would fight naked. So that's why it's called General Butt Naked. So they would eat the heart, drink the blood, and then take off all their clothes and then just run into battle shooting the shit.
And this guy's still alive.
Yeah.
It's amazing that he tells this story. Like, wouldn't you want to keep that secret?
Well, he's now named Joshua Blahi, and he's a preacher, and they had a tribunal, a council to sort of see all the war crimes and stuff, and he admitted to sort of killing, you know, and eating, you know, 25,000 to 30,000 people.
Oh my God!
And but they said, oh, you're a preacher now, and he's like, yeah, and he's like, okay, well, it's okay then.
Holy shit!
Yeah.
In 2011, in the world, in the earth that we live on,
Mm-hmm.
that's actually going down. Someone has killed 25,000 people and eaten babies,
Yeah.
but it's okay now because you're in a cult.
Yes.
That's a great cult to be in, man. I would say that's a good one to join. If you're in a situation where you've eaten about 20,000 people and you're like, fuck, I need a way to not go to jail. How do I explain this?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm a preacher now.
Yeah,
Oh.
he was a priest in the Crown tribe before, which is, they believed in human sacrifice, and he was fighting on the Liberian side, the Crown side, against the sort of American sponsored side, and so he had been, you know, a ritualistic cannibal before.
Jesus.
And then there was not a lot of food during the Civil War, so people just started eating bodies for food.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
So would they hunt people and eat them?
No,
I'm sure.
There's enough people dying. Like, there's a lot of dead people just lying around.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a fucking crazy place on earth.
Yeah.
I mean, you want to talk about, like, Mad Max wasn't that bad, right? Like, what people are worried about with, like, Mad Max that like living in Thunderdome. That's not as bad.
Yeah.
I'd way rather live in Thunderdome than Liberia. 2 men enter, 1 man leave. It seems pretty straightforward.
I would rather live on Brokeback Mountain.
Yeah. Dude, that sounds completely insane. And Liberia started out as a U.S. slave colony, right?
No, it was actually they took freed slaves
and they brought them back to Africa.
They brought them back to Africa,
Yeah.
and they called it Liberia for freedom. And Monrovia, the capital, is named after President Monroe. And they wrote the Constitution in America, and then they brought the freed slaves over, and then the slaves promptly enslaved the native Africans using the plantation method that they had learned in America.
Oh my God.
And so for the next sort of 150 years, the American Liberians, so they would have names like Charles Taylor, for example, or very sort of westernized names, would sort of, had enslaved the sort of locals until a guy named Samuel Doe, who was an African Liberian, overthrew the government, and that started a civil war. And then Charles Taylor, who was educated here in America, went after him, and that's when all this cannibalism and lunacy started. And Charles Taylor now is on trial or being convicted of war crimes and crimes against humanity. But all the other generals, like Butt Naked and Bin Laden and Rambo, they're all still there, just sort of hanging out in Liberia. Yeah.
That is incredible. Yeah. When was it established as a country?
So it was established in the 1840s.
So slavery was made illegal in 1865. Is that what it was?
So it was sort of, repatriated slaves from the north, and then when they outlawed slavery, they would keep going. So I think it was made an actual international state in the 1860s, and then it was sort of American sort of run. It was our sort of quasi foray into colonialism and
in Africa.
In Africa, and then it turned into a complete and utter disaster.
Holy shit! You want to talk about? There's no way to make anything worse. Is there a way? Is there a worse spot on Earth?
No.
That sounds like the worst spot on Earth.
Yeah. I mean, when there's a place called West Point, which is the sort of slum of Monrovia, which it doesn't have electricity grid, Monrovia, the city, or water or anything.
But there's a bad part.
No, yeah, it's
all bad. Imagine that. It's like a slum.
It's all bad
in hell.
It's all bad, but
hell has a slum.
But there's this one part called I just forgot what did I just say. West Point. It's called West Point, and you go there, and it's shocking. It's 8, 9, 10-year-old kids just smoking heroin, slashes across it, milky eyes everywhere, stumps everywhere. All these people have fought in wars. Prostitution is just everywhere. Drugs everywhere. And there's just shit in the streets. There's no, it's literally chaos. It's worse than chaos. You're like, well, even in Mad Max, there would be some, 2 men enter women. There'd be some law. There'd be some sort of
border town.
Something. But there's none. It's just fucking crazy. Like, it's full on. And
you can't fix that because those people are fucked. They're programmed that way. They're like wild dogs that want to eat people.
Well, the thing is what I don't
know what I mean? Like, you can't fix a wild dog that wants to eat people.
Most of them were child soldiers, so they've grown up just killing the shit out of people their whole lives. And so this is what I understand is, kill. Okay, stop. And then they don't give them any money or jobs. Unemployment's at 75%. So there's these dudes who have one skill, which is to kill people. They don't have any jobs, and they're just sort of sitting around starving. You're like, well, they're just going to start fighting again. And that's why what all the generals said is, like, one of the guys, Rambo, was like, I am a product of war. I'm a son of war. What do you expect me to do? Well, that's all I know how to do.
That has gotten to be the craziest place on Earth. It's amazing just even thinking about it, thinking that that's possible, that humanity can slip in the same time frame as you and I sitting in this this room with air conditioning and this broadcasting this signal that's going out to hundreds of thousands of people all over the world.
This is the future. There's just like a million mini cams. This is like post Japan. This is the Mad Max of
podcasting. Yeah, this is like the studio where the dude who made those replicants in Blade Runner, it's like where he would work.
Last of the V8 interceptors.
So that's got to be as bad as things can go. I mean, you can't think of anything worse. Cannibalism, smoking heroin in the street as a baby, everyone's missing arms and shit. I mean, it has to be the worst humanity can get, and it coexists with this. It's amazing.
The one story you know, we were going to church where Butt Naked was going to preach. And the one story that freaked me out the most was we went to the cemetery in the downtown, you know, of Monrovia. And there's all the graves were empty and they had been opened up. And what had happened is no one had anywhere to live, so they opened up the graves, you know, took out the skeletons and just lived in the graves. About 4,000 people were living in the graves, right? But
4,000 people.
Just living in the graves. And then, but he's telling me the story and he's saying, you know, I was taking the bus back from Guinea, and I was going, and you know, I got off the bus, and they had sort of, you know, cooked sticks of meat, and so he had it, and he goes, "Oh, this is human flesh," and because he knows what human flesh tastes like, because he ate a lot. So he goes to the guy and he says, "Excuse me, you know, I'm General Butt Naked, but you know, I'm now converted. You're someone selling this meat as, you know, beef or whatever, but it's actually human flesh." And they said, "How do you know it's human flesh?" And he's like, "Well, because I ate human flesh a lot before." And so as he's telling me the story, I'm just like, all of that is just an aside. The punchline was when he said, "Oh, they were actually stealing cadavers, you know, from the hospitals and just cutting them up and making, you know, meat for the buses that go through the border." But so that's the punchline. But meanwhile, like, I'm sitting in this graveyard which had 4,000 people living in the graves, and he's telling me, "Well, I knew it was human flesh because, you know, I ate it a lot." And you're sort of sitting there going, wait, all the givens of telling this joke or this story, every given is like, okay, so we're living in the cemetery, we're eating human flesh, and then I found out that they're grave robbing to make, you know, kebabs in the street, and you're sitting there going,
Christ.
At that point, you're just going, okay, I mean, just any kind of aside, any story, and you're just sitting, you're at the end of humanity, like we're all fucking doomed, you know.
That is the low point. It's got to be. It's the lowest